Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to rock? Jeffrey Powers here. Welcome to another episode of Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like an Indiegogo campaign and taking actual iPhones and turning them into photos. Photog. Are you a photogger? Anyway, today we're going to talk about the HDMI. Yeah, it's HTML and HDMI. It's going to get mixed together. It's kind of weird. The HDMI 2.0 standard. What you need to know, what you need to think about for the future for this holiday season, and everything like that. Welcome to the pre-show. We're actually started the pre-show early. I'm really happy that I started this pre-show early because it is the pre-show, and this is where you, the fan, comes and becomes part of the show. So thank you very much for coming to the pre-show. The pre-show, simply put, all you have to do is it's Geekazine's the Twitter handle. It's right there. And, of course, geekazine@gmail.com. YouTube.com/Geekazine. Go over to YouTube.com/Geekazine and simply subscribe to the show notes. Subscribe. That's all you have to do. And then, of course, watch Google+, Facebook, Twitter. I'll try and put it up on Twitter when the next live show is going to happen. We've got, which happens every Tuesday. Every Tuesday for Wednesday consumption, as I tell you every single time. So thanks for coming to the show. Thanks for coming to the live show. We've got a very big and very happy show. It is happy. It has this big smile on it, and it's just going, hey, how's it going? You're doing fine. You're doing great. Enjoy life. So, if you go over to Geek, I made myself laugh. So what? It's kind of a laid back week this week. I didn't have to do any travel. Last week I was hoping to get to San Francisco for TechCrunch Disrupt. I was really disappointed that I didn't get the sponsors to do it, but that's all well and good. I'll just have to be there next time. The few things that came out of it, and we talked about that last week, so I'm not going to go too much into detail on there. But really happy for this last week. My Google Glass has not broken down yet. I'm really happy about that. So it seems that the packaging tape. So basically what happened was, what I did was I took a piece of packing tape, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but I put a piece of packing tape right there, right over the power button. And because of that, when I sweated, and I played a gig this weekend, and I sweated, or is it sweat? I sweated. I sweater. I don't know. Anyway, I played, and the sweat came down, and the Google Glass did not blow up like the previous versions. So it's got to be that power button. So I will let them know. We're not done yet, although, it's a lot cooler temperatures out. In fact, today was the first day that I actually had to wear a jacket outside. We started the day at 47 degrees, and that was a trip to have 47 degrees in, and it's September, and it's starting to feel like fall, and it's starting to see the leaves fall down from the trees. It happens. So I'm just kind of sad that I'm back to pants and jackets. But hey, it's gonna warm up. In fact, today is gonna get up to 70 degrees. We'll have a couple more. I'll have a couple more short days, and then gear in for the cold weather coming up very soon. So, like I said, the Google Glass. I actually posted up on Google Plus the one of the songs we did, Toes, and I talked about it last night on This Week in Google Glass with my host Luke Wallace. So you can go up to Google Plus and check that out. Just go to my profile. You should be able to see the link and just check it out from there. Last night's Twig was pretty awesome. Luke and I got into some pretty deep conversation. I'm really happy with the direction that this is going. But next week, for This Week in Google Glass, we're going to change gears because we're going to have a guest on the show. And her name is Christy Brown, if I remember correctly. And she's going to be talking about glass in healthcare. And that's going to be really, really cool. So if you've got any questions or anything like that, let me know, and I'll put them into the pile, and then you can ask questions as we go for Christy and go from there. Excuse me. Root beer's coming back up. Oh, speaking of which, that is, I'm drinking, I did the video for the Primo soda maker, and I have a thing of root beer right here, so I'm really happy about that. Of course, it's low sugar, no high fructose corn syrup, no aspartame, none of that bad stuff. It's just syrup and water and carbonation, and it's really good. And I did that over at deals.geekazine.com. You can check that out over there if you have any questions about that, about how the Primo soda maker works. So, let's see what else. Day in Tech History. If you haven't heard, if you're under a rock, the Day in Tech History has gone to 1,500 episodes. Today, September 17th, the 1,500th episode of Day in Tech History happened. I've been doing Day in Tech History on a daily basis since August 10th, 2009. There was a little bit of confusion. I thought it was August 9th, but then I completely forgot. I used to post the shows at 9:30 at night so they could be listened to over in the UK when it was 8 o'clock in the morning. And I found that when I switched it over to 5:30 in the morning, it really didn't make much of a difference. So I kept it at that. I have plans to actually give the UK an early feed as well, and probably get the next day of Tech History under your belt, so you can actually listen to it in two different places. So I'm working on that. Lots of different things that I'm working on for all the different shows. iPad 365 got its own website last week over at ipad-365.com. So if you're looking for iPad 365, you go over to that website now. Geek Smack and the media feed, those stay on Geekazine, and I'm looking for other things to add to Geekazine's posts and to make it the all-encompassing powerhouse. This Week in Google Glass on its own website, twig.tv, twigg.tv, Day in Tech History on its own website over at dayintechhistory.com. And then, of course, how to record podcasts. If you want to learn how to do all this audio-video stuff that I've been doing, you can definitely go over and check that out over at howtorecordpodcast.com. There is a new website, too. Now you're saying, my God, that's a lot of hats. Yes, that is a lot of hats. But there's a new website as opposed to all the other websites that we got out there. The new website is, I'm not telling you yet. It's not ready. It's not ready yet. But I'm going to tell you, for you podcasters out there, there's a lot of question of the validity of podcasting. It's like for instance, right now, am I podcasting? Am I doing a video show? I'm doing something on YouTube, but you can get it through an RSS feed, and you can get the video through an RSS feed, and you can get the audio through an RSS feed. So it is a podcast, and in all reality, you can download it as a podcast. So what is this? So I'm going to put a little bit more validity, a little bit more tangibility onto podcasting, and something that I started thinking about 3 months ago. And other fields do this thing, but podcasting doesn't. And I was trying to think, well, what's the best way to do this? Especially because you have video podcasts and you have audio podcasts, and both sides have to be appeased. And there's those audio podcasters that go, I'm not never doing no video podcast. And then there's those video podcasters that's going, why would I do an audio podcast? I'm doing video. It's all good here. So you got to play both sides and hopefully come together with a great solution. And of course, with the solution, we'll add to a directory, so you'll be able to add your shows to this directory. So I'll give you that little bit. There'll be a directory added to the whole structure of what I'm planning to do, because we've got to kind of catalog the podcasts that are going to be participating in this thing. So. and you talk to the guy that talks about the thing, and the other guy, not that guy, but the other guy, he takes care of that, and that's all good. So just leave it at that. So talked about the 1,500th episode. Of course, Day in Tech History, 365 days a year. 1,500 episodes straight. There is no other podcast that does it. There's a couple podcasts that say 365 days a year, but they haven't done it for 1,500 episodes. They kind of had breaks somewhere here and there. There was one I thought that was actually started before me. I thought they were going to do it, but then in January they just kind of closed shop for a couple months, and I was like, wow, okay, well, that's too bad. Episode 2000, A Day in Tech History, is going to happen in January 29th of 2015. Really excited about that. So we'll see what happens there. I can't wait. Of course, hey, Day in Tech History, if you want to help out with any of these shows, and there's time, there's money, there's different ways you can help out. We have a wiki page over at Geekazine.com. I always looking for somebody to come in and look at the information and validate it. Actually put links to places. Like, for instance, IBM has on their webpage, they have all the links to the actual information that I do have in Geekazine. And at first, I just put down the Geekazine information and put it up on a page, because that was, coming up with 365 days worth of material was a pain. And adding to it, it's not as much of a pain, but it definitely needs to be curated and moderated. So anybody that wants to help out with moderating the Day in Tech History, adding stuff, especially 2013. I think I'm somewhere in March or April on the tech history, putting it all together for 2013. And I'm going to have to think about that before the end of the year, because at the end of the year, I'll have to have that list. I'll have to add that into Geekazine so I can record the episodes for Day in Tech History. So it's gonna be interesting. We'll see what happens. And in the meantime, if you do want to help out, just let me know. Drop me a line. Twitter me at Geekazine. Of course, geekazine@gmail.com. Twitter handle is actually raising up. I'm really happy on the numbers. I got a friend that's helping me with the Twitter, with my Twitter feed, because all these social networks that are out there, to be able to be completely focused on one is almost impossible nowadays. So she's helping me with Twitter, and I'm getting that done and building some base there. Of course, Google Plus, the one website, the center, is basically this website that's just telling me how many people are coming onto my page, how many people are leaving my page, and it's really, really awesome program there. So I'm really happy to have found that. There have been some brute force attacks happening on different pages. I've been adding some extra security to my web pages, especially Day in Tech History. I think over the weekend, it got 2 weeks ago, it's something like 56,000 attempts to log in to the admin account. And I put in a couple plugins in place that slowed them down, which is really cool. So what happens is, after so many logins, all of a sudden it takes a little bit longer to load the web page to say that it was denied. And then after so many more, it takes even longer to log you in. And then there's a point where it just locks it out completely. And I've gotten some emails saying that emails or IP addresses have been locked out. So if you see any problems with that, let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine, or geekazine@gmail.com, and I'll take a look at it and see what's going on. But most of them are just basically attacking bots. Then their IP addresses are getting smacked up. So you shouldn't see anything there. So anyway, that pretty much does it for the pre-show. Thanks a lot for coming to the pre-show. Looks like we got a couple people in the pre-show. Thank you very much for watching. And we're going to get into the show here. One more thing, I'm going to show you this, and I did the video for the Epson XP410, and 3 months ago, I went to Ford, and I got to see people speak. One of them, of course, Steve Wozniak. I've got him up here. You can't see him in this angle, but from when I talked to him back in 2009, I got to talk to him again here back in June. Somebody snapped a picture. I thought I never put it up on Google Plus or Facebook. I just left it on the iPhone. They basically snapped it on their phone and then sent me a text message with the pictures, and I thought I lost the pictures. But I was going through my Facebook pictures, and I found it, and I was really happy about that. So this is the picture of me and Steve Wozniak, the new updated picture, and this is done off the Epson XP410. So I'm really happy about how that came out. And I'm going to post that up there. So another picture to add to my to my arsenal of photos with different celebrities. And Steve Wozniak, really cool. He's got a really cool business card. It's like a multi-tool. It's a little aluminum business card with things that you can, like use it as a screwdriver or a measuring tool and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. So I'm really glad I got this picture. And one more thing. Oh, the search for a new smartphone is on. Of course, iOS 7 happens tomorrow. And then the next day I will have, once I get iOS 7 put onto the iPad, the final version, then I will do my iPad 365 show, and you can watch it there. But I'm in the hunt for a smartphone. Now, here's the interesting thing. I've got this LG smartphone, which I got for review about a year ago, and I'm going to try and get another one, the Optimus Pro, because I love this thing, or the Samsung Galaxy 4. However, can't pay the $500 bill that it costs for me to get a new phone since my iPhone was stolen. So if you want to help out, please, PayPal, geekazine@gmail.com, geekazine@gmail.com. I'd appreciate it much. So, all right, well, that's it for the vlog, the pre-show, whatever you want to call it. We've got a very big show for today. Let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Bill Gates being the richest man for the 20th year in a row. We're going to talk about Google buying Bump. We're going to talk about Chromecast update, Google Voice updates. Vinyl is coming back and how they're seeing a surge of purchases of vinyl. Sony Smart Stick. And then, of course, we're going to talk about the HDMI 2.0 standard. Came out last week at IFC. And what you need to know in buying a TV that might influence your purchase if you want to use HDMI 2.0. What it is, why you need it, how you need it, what you would need for it, so on and so forth. So, and we're going to do that, of course, coming up very soon. So here's what's happening. You're going to see the Geek Smack logo for a couple seconds as I kind of go blah, 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 with my face. And then, of course, I'm going to turn around and we'll do the show. But right before we do this, I've got to kind of set my intro picture for the for YouTube and of course for Geekazine. So I'm gonna do this here, and I'm gonna maybe I'll do it with the picture like this, or maybe I'll just go like this, or maybe I'll just maybe like this, or maybe I'll just geek out like this. And there, I took some snaps. And of course, during the show, if I do something funny like cucaracha or something like that, then I might just use that instead. So, all right, we're gonna go to the blank screen. We're gonna go to the show, and that's where the show starts. So if you went to geekazine.com, you'd actually see the show without this intro part, and go from there. So you are watching Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you in a minute. It's time to smack the geek out of you. It's another episode of Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like the HDMI standard got smacked a couple days ago. We're going to talk about what's going to happen with HDMI 2.0. Now, you might have gotten your flat panel TV and you got that 1.0, actually 1.4 specification in there, and you're going, I just got a brand new TV. I want 2.0. Well, we'll talk about what is important, why you would need 2.0, if you're going to go for it or not, what all this and that. Do you need to change cables? Do you need to change TVs? What do you need to do? When's it going to come out? All that other good stuff. We're going to talk about that. And then, of course, we're going to talk about a lot of other tech news, including Google actually buying Bump. You remember that app? Wow, it's back. Bill Gates being one of the richest men for the 20th year, and vinyl making the comeback. And we're going to do that all next. We're brought to you by our friends over at Wirecast that do this show. They came out with a brand new version of Wirecast, and I've yet to load it up and try it out. So I'm really excited about that. And then, of course, we've got Roku, where you can get yourself a Roku over at geekazine.com/Roku. And then GoDaddy, if you use the code WOWAZINE, you get 35% off. All right, let's get this episode of Geek Smack smacking out of you, and we'll smack and go from there. So let's smack it right now.
This is the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, welcome to the show we call Geek Smack, the show where we smack the geek out of you like we're going to smack the geek out of some of you iPhone photog people. You want to actually turn a room into a dark room? Well, we're going to show you how you can do that. We're going to talk about vinyl coming back in spades, and of course, we're going to talk about HDMI standard. Now, last week, they put out the HDMI 2.0 standard. We're on HDMI 1.4 right now. And I'm going to tell you, what do you need to do? Do you need to do any upgrades? Do you need to buy a brand new TV? Did you just buy a brand new TV? Does this affect you? And we're going to talk about that all this week. Of course, we're live on YouTube over at youtube.com/Geekazine. Think magazine, put in a geek, and you've got youtube.com/Geekazine. Where I spend about 15 minutes. I'm going to give you the short version for the actual show here. Basically, Google Glass, I'm still wearing them. They haven't broke. I think that this packaging tape over the power button has done the job, but we're not out of the woods yet. We'll see what happens. Of course, this week in Google Glass, we talked about a lot of different things. Next week, we're going to have a very special guest on talking about Google Glass and healthcare. Can't wait for that episode to happen. So that's going to be next Monday night, and of course, I'll have it up by Tuesday morning for you. Day in Tech History has gotten to the 1500th episode, and that's a very interesting milestone because I've been doing a podcast a day since August 10th, 2009. We've hit 1,500 episodes today, September 17th. Of course, if you're watching it or listening to the show afterwards, you'll have to come back. But of course, you can check it out over at Day in Tech History. And a new website is in the works for you podcasters. Listen up. You're going to get more detail if you go to youtube.com/Geekazine and listen to the pre-show. But I'm putting together a new website for podcasters to bring a little bit more validity into the podcast. And I'll tell you a little bit more at the pre-show. So go to the pre-show over on YouTube and check it out. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, let's get into your geeks or your tech smack for today. All right, and this part of Geek Smack is brought to you by our friends over at GoDaddy.com. You know, they just changed up the website. They come a brand new look, new CEO, new direction, and, of course, Jean-Claude Van Damme. And their new slogan, which I believe is just go for it, or something like that. Let me call it up really quick. But anyway, if you need a domain, it's go time. That's the new tagline. It is go time. It is go time for your small, your medium, your business. And that's the focus of GoDaddy nowadays. Get your domains, get your hosting, get your SSL certificate, get your emails, email marketing, whatever you need to get your job done. That is what GoDaddy is all about. Check it out over at GoDaddy.com. You can they'll even help you with setting up the website if you have no idea how to set up the website. Now, of course, if you use that code Wowazine, of course, that helps me keep the lights on, and you save yourself 35%. 35% simply by using that code Wowazine. So check it out. Create an account, get a domain, get some hosting, get your business going online with GoDaddy, because it's go time with GoDaddy. All right, let's start over at All Things D. Google has acquired Bump for at least $30 million. I'm not exactly sure where the at least is. They raised about they're about a $20 million company. And Google has decided, okay, it's time to actually take over Bump and go from there. Now, I had Bump on my iPhone years ago, and I think the last time I used Bump was, I don't remember. Can't remember. Can't tell you. I don't know. I don't know when I last used Bump. But with Google buying it, of course, that will then increase, and they'll say, okay, now it's time we can go over to Android and put this in. And, of course, start putting it into applications, and that's where Bump really will start to work. And I don't know, because of NFC, if Bump is going to make any types of switches or anything like that. So a lot of different things that I'm thinking of. Of course, iPhones don't have NFC communications right now, near-field communications right now. So how do you work with iPhones and with Androids? And we'll see what happens. But Google has made the purchase. So if you want to read more, go over to allthingsd.com for that article. There's an angry entrepreneur. Of course, we hate trolls here at Geekazine. Trolls are bad, and we're talking about patent trolls. Regular trolls, they're fine. They can guard a bridge if they want to. But when it comes to patents, we don't like patent trolls. And this one guy didn't like patent trolls either, to the point where he's actually helping by creating a racketeering lawsuit. And he's basically, he called up, from what I remember on the reading this, the guy, his CEO Kevin O'Connor, decided to call up a patent troll. Actually, called it a different patent troll, people in the patent litigation, and just find out their roles and talk to them for a few minutes. Well, apparently they came up and they said, "Well, you're committing a hate crime." And so now he's turning this case into finding out what, they're asking for $50,000 for some patent. The patent's for what was it for? Multilateral decision making, which I don't know what that is. But the whole point is that he's going after this patent troll now, and he's actually bringing up a case of harassment and not enticement, but that's the word I was gonna say, but basically entrapment. That's the word that I was coming up with. So he is going for this, and he's going to see what happens. And actually, entrapment's not the word I was thinking of either. But the whole point is that he is going to go after these trolls. He's put a few $1 million into the pot here, and we'll see what happens here. We'll follow this, and I'll keep you up to date on this. If you want to know more, go over to arstechnica.com. arstechnica.com. Let's move on. Let's go over to Giga YouTube is starting testing Chromecast support for third-party websites. So basically, you had to go to youtube.com to get the Chromecast button to shoot the YouTube video over to Chromecast. Well, now they're putting it in a third party like Google Plus. So now you can go to Google Plus. You'll see the video. It's like, okay, I'm ready to watch this. I want to throw it over to the big screen. Boop. I hit the button. There. It's over at the big screen. And so YouTube is going to start testing this support with third-party websites. If you want to know more about that, or if you want to become one of the websites that tests it out, you might want to check out this article over on Gigam. Now, of course, all the articles are we've got links to all the articles over on Geekazine.com. Just go over to Geekazine, think magazine, put in a geek, and that is where you can get the RSS feed, so you can subscribe into your RSS reader. If you go over to iTunes, look for Geek Smack. Please throw a rating on there. Tell me what you think. Even if it's 1 star, let me know what you think. Audio version, video version, we've got both versions up there. Same thing for iPad 365. Same thing for This Week in Google Glass. I cannot change what I do not know. So go up there and go up in iTunes and give me some reviews. I'd appreciate it much. That article's over on gigaom.com. We're going to move on from there. We're going to go over to GeekWire. Pandora. Now, Pandora got a brand new CEO. And I met Tim Westerhoven about 2 years ago at another event, and I thought he had some really good ideas. But apparently, Pandora wants the new direction, so they decided to get the new CEO, and they got Brian McAndrews to be the CEO. And the first thing that he just started a couple days later, he decided, well, we're going to put some shares up for sale. We're going to get more investors so we can do more. So they put up right now they put up 10 million shares of common stock, about $230.8 million. And of course, I think when it's all said and done, there's going to be 14 million shares of stock that you can get in Pandora. Now, I listen to Pandora. Actually, I listen to Pandora over Spotify, over Google Music, and simply because of the fact it's got a Roku channel. So I'm a fan of Pandora. I like how it works, and I've got it on my phone, and I've got it on my computers, and I've got it on my Roku. So, but what do you think? Do you use Pandora at all? Do you like what Pandora does? Did you switch over to one of the other services? Let me know. You can Twitter me over at Geekazine, think magazine, put in a geek, geekazine@gmail.com, or the hotline. Yes, we do have a phone hotline at 608-205-14, 608-205-4378. What do you think about Pandora's change? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Are you going to actually get some stock? I've got my one share of Facebook stock. You still can't see it. It's right next to Brent Spiner. So anyway, check it out. Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine, and we will go from there. All right. There are some people that are not fans of Google Voice for some reason. And it's like, okay, well, stop hating on Google Voice. Let me deal with Google Voice. In fact, 608-205-4378 is a Google Voice number. And I'm very, very happy that Google has Google Voice there. So I can actually give you guys a phone number to call me and talk to me and say, hey, this is what I like about Geekazine. This is what I not like about Geekazine and Geek Smack. So, but anyway, Google Voice has decided to up the game a little bit. They gave a little bit more security into Google Voice, and I'm really liking this. So basically what they decided, they made change to voicemail so to be safer. If you access your account by the phone that you've set up in Google Voice, then it'll be okay. But if you go outside that, let's say you're calling from a payphone or somebody else's phone, you're going to have to set it up. You're going to have to set up another special PIN. I think it's like a 10-digit, up to 10-digit PIN. So, and of course, it's going to be a numerical. There's no way around that. But with 10 digits, you can kind of figure out how you can spell a name or something like that in there. So if you decide on how you want to set it up, you can do that there. And of course, you make the changes. Once you log into your voicemail, your Google Voice account, it will then tell you of the changes, and you make the adjustments and go from there. We've got the blog link straight to the website, so you can check it out over at support.google.com. Once again, go over to geekazine.com to the show notes here. Click on the link, and you'll get there. Toot sweet. Toot sweet, exactly. So, all right, let's move on from there. Let's go over to Engadget.com. Vinyl is back. And a few weeks ago, I was at Target, and I saw vinyl on the shelf. And I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. There's vinyl on the shelf. You know, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band and some other Beatles albums. Well, apparently, Amazon has found that since 2008, vinyl sales have been up 745%. 745%. And, of course, they're joking at an 8-track comeback. But, you know, I remember on Day in Tech History, I talked about Cheap Trick a few years ago, actually putting their album not only on CD and download, but also on vinyl and on 8-track. And you could have gotten it there, and probably cassette as well. So, although I don't think there's going to be a comeback of 8-track, I definitely know that a lot of audiophiles and a lot of vinylophiles, as I like to call them, want vinyl versions of the music. So, interesting stuff. And then a lot of artists, Amy Winehouse, Death Grips, Daft Punk, Nirvana, Paul McCartney, and they hit some top 10 lists simply because they come out with vinyl. So if you're a musician, maybe getting vinyl albums out there could put you into a top 10 list. Have you ever thought of that? Anyway, if you want more information, go over to Engadget.com. All right, since Chromecast came out, there's been a lot of people that have been kind of salivating on it. Roku has decided to put out an app that will work like Chromecast. Sony has decided to get into the game because they're looking at it and going, wow, $35. I'm guessing that it's probably $10, $15 to make this little dongle, and you're taking over the whole HDMI port. Well, Sony says, well, we'll give it a try too. So they're going to come out with a Sony Smart Stick that's going to challenge the Chromecast. Sony told trade magazine Variety that it would be formally launching the Android-powered Smart Stick later this week. Not next month, not next year, this week. So we will have to watch it. And they said the Smart Stick will cost about $150, but they're going to probably have to look into ways to actually reducing the price, because that's just would you buy a $35 Google Chromecast, or would you buy a $150 Sony Smart Stick? Does the Sony Smart Stick do more than what the Chromecast will do? I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'll definitely keep you up to date on it and see what happens when they finally release it. And like I said, it's going to be later on this week, so we'll see what happens. Go from there. All right, let's go over to hybridcars.com, brand new website for Geekazine. Once again, if you see any problems, let me know, and we'll make the proper adjustments to fix that. GM has decided to follow Tesla, and they're planning on developing a $30,000 200-mile per tank EV car. So basically, it'll go around 200 miles. I think it's something like 200 miles without having to refill the tank. Yeah, it'll be about $30,000, and it looks like at least a 4-passenger, maybe a 5-passenger vehicle. GM's vice president of global product developer Doug Parks has committed to the automaker will build one, and they said it will be about 2016 that'll come out. So. And of course that'll match Tesla, but Tesla's cars are around $71,000. So if you want to read more on this, like I said, we got the link over hybridcars.com. You can check it out there. All right, that does it for this part of Geek Smack. We're going to get you into the second part where we're going to talk about Bill Gates. We're going to talk about some other stuff, and then of course we're going to talk about the HDMI specification. HDMI, why am I saying HDMI? I don't know. HDMI 2.0 is coming, and we're going to talk about what you expect on that. What's going to happen? Do you need new cables? Do you need new TVs? What do you need? And we will be right back with your Geek Smack. And yeah, we'll be right back. This is Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Questions? Twitter me, Geekazine, geekazine@gmail.com, and the hotline is 608-205-4378. And of course, this part is brought to you by my other website, Day in Tech History, over at www.dayintechhistory.com. The 1500th episode today, September 17th. Of course, also today on September 17th was the big shakeup with Apple. Sarah Palin's email got hacked on this day in I think it was 2008. And of course, we'll give you a little sneak peek into September 18th. This is when it was like 4 years after Steve Jobs resigns. He resigned about a week ago, but it was official on September 17th. He resigned from Apple. 4 years later, 1989, on September 18th, the next computer and the next Step OS came out. And then in 1990, the next station was finally out there. And this is the stuff you're going to find out on Day in Tech History. And then, of course, on September 17th of 1996, Steve Jobs comes back and runs Apple again. Brings the next stuff in there, puts it in and says that's the next version of Mac, or that's going to be the basis of the next version of Mac. And then, of course, turns Apple into a multi-billion-dollar company. So, that's how that all worked. And that's what you find out on the Day in Tech History, plus a whole bunch of other facts, tech news, tech history news, geek history news, some science history news, all that over at dayintechhistory.com. Check it all out there. All right, we are going to be talking, like I said, we're going to be talking about the upcoming HDMI 2.0 standard. And we're going to do that a little bit later. But first of all, we're going to get into your Tech Smack. And we're going to start with the Geekedia of the week. And of course, the Geekedia of the week is I look and I find something for you to kind of geek out on, whether it be a movie, a book, or something else. Today, we're going back over to Amazon and we're going to take a look. Of course, the movie, I'm really excited about this movie. I'm really, really thinking of buying this movie because, and I don't normally buy movies. I just rent them and I watch them once and it's like, okay, I'm done with that. But this one I really liked, and now of course they've got the unrated cut, which means more zombies or something like that, more death destruction. And I might just have to watch it tonight. I'm really excited about this coming out. And of course, what am I talking about? I'm talking about World War Z with Brad Pitt. I thought it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. I can't wait to see what the new unrated cut looks like. And it's available now on Blu-ray, on DVD, on digital download. You get that threesome copy there. And of course, that's $19.99. You can save 50% over at Amazon.com. Of course, click on the link and that will get you there. Of course, that'll help me keep the lights on, keep the show going for you, because this does cost a little bit of money to actually put this show together. And I thank you very much for doing that. But World War Z, of course, you can also download it. It's available on instant download, so you call up your Roku and get that video going, and you can watch it from there. World War Z, it's on Amazon. Check it out. And like I said, click on the show notes, inside the show notes, so you can get that there. All right. Let's get back into your tech news. We're going to start over. This just came out about 2 hours ago, and I stopped what I was doing, and I was just like fixated on this. Apparently, Virgin Mobile is working with YouTube and what they're calling blink washing. And we've got the link over at Geekazine.com. Let's bring that up. There you go. And basically, you can actually change the way the ad works by blinking. And you're going, what? So basically, it's this constant ad for Virgin Mobile. And every time you blink, it'll actually switch it up. So, like, you'll see a guy talking to a girl talking about Virgin Mobile. Next thing you blink, and then all of a sudden you're seeing a cowboy sitting on his front porch thinking to himself about Virgin Mobile. You'll blink again. There's a snowboarder going down the slopes and talking about Virgin Mobile. You'll blink again. There's a karaoke channel. So you're watching, there's like music in the background, and it's like it's filling in the lines and talking about Virgin Mobile. And it's all, when you blink, it's like the next video pops up and continues right where it left off. So it doesn't restart the video or anything like that. It doesn't put any other ads up, but it definitely shows us that we can actually have a next generation of video by being blink washed or something like that. So this is just amazing. You're going to have to go. You'll need a webcam on your computer, and you'll need to give it the access. And then, of course, it calibrates, finds your eyes. I bumped the microphone there. Sorry about that. It finds your eyes, and then you can you just basically watch the video, and every time you blink, it'll change. And just do it a couple times and tell me what you think, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Let me know. Twitter me over at Geekazine. Of course, Geekazine at gmail.com. All right, congratulations to Bill Gates. We're over at CNET.com for this article. Bill Gates has the richest American for the 20th straight years. Out of 400 Americans, from Ellison to Zuckerberg to even Elon Musk, Bill Gates, it's $72 billion. Now, this is just the United States. This is not worldwide. I think he's like 5 or 10 on there for that, but he's been the number one richest man for 20 years. That says something. Second is, of course, Warren Buffett with $68.5 billion, and they've got a full list here. Oracle chief Larry Ellison is about $41 billion. Jeff Bezos is in 12th place with $27.2 billion. Larry Page, Sergey Brin is 13th and 14th with about $49 billion. Mark Zuckerberg, ranked in at 20th place, becomes one of the youngest billionaires in the list. And, I wouldn't be surprised if he would eventually pop up into the top of that list. But we'll see what happens. I just saw a post today, one of those, how Google is going to smush Facebook and their days are numbered. And that might be true. Facebook might be another MySpace once again, but not right now. So if you want to read more on that, go over to cnet.com. We've got the link in the show notes. You can go there. But let me know what you think. And Twitter me over at Geekazine or Geekazine at gmail.com. Well, it looks like our next article is not loading up, but I'll check the link here. Basically, Bing has come up with a new logo. Let me call up somewhere else here and see if I can find it. The new Bing logo, we'll just go straight from Bing's website, is right here. Now, Bing, you'll see it on the top right-hand corner if you're watching the video. If you're listening to the audio, then you're not going to see it. But basically, Bing has come out with a new logo. It kind of looks like if you take your arm, drop it down, bring your arm up, and like kind of curl it into a fist, or maybe even take your hand. Here, let me do this. This is my interpretation of the Bing logo, like that. So it's like, make a little pop sock puppet with your hand. Hi, how's it going? I'm fine. How are you? Okay, I'm fine. Okay, and then just bring it in like it's looking at you, and you've got the Bing logo. I don't know. That's how I see it. So they redesigned it. Of course, there's probably some grand scheme in this design and why it looks like it does. So Bing, of course, making some new updates so you can go to the new Bing search. And if you want to check it out, we'll get a link in there so you can take a look at it. But once again, the page did not load up. So check it all out and let me know what you think. Do you like the Bing logo or not? Let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine. Of course, Geekazine at gmail.com and 608-205-4378. All right. I remember when Rhapsody was like the number one. I had a Rhapsody account. And I had it for a few years simply because of the fact that Rhapsody was had so many different options. Like, for instance, when Real Player came out, Rhapsody, you had the Rhapsody membership. I could actually also have stars on the Rhapsody membership. So, I was traveling around state, so I was going to these hotels, and some of them did have wireless, some of them didn't at the time. This is back in 2005. And so I would at home, I would download movies from Stars onto the laptop. So when I got to the hotels, I had something to watch. And I had my Rhapsody account, so I had music, and I had that for a couple of years. In fact, Rhapsody was a sponsor I think it was the first year of the Geekazine podcast. So I was a big proponent of Rhapsody, and then of course times change, people change, hairstyles change, interest rates fluctuate, and then next thing you know, you're on a different system. And like I said, talking Pandora is my system right now. But what about Rhapsody? Well, apparently Rhapsody is feeling the brunt of that, and they have to let some people go. So what they did was they let about 30 people go, which is about 15% of the company. And they've let some managers go. There's a new manager in place for Rhapsody, and I believe it's what was that? I had the name here. 80 Degia. She's the new company's CFO, and I know I just completely butchered that name. I apologize. They replaced Ethan Rudin, who was formerly with Starbucks Strategy. So we'll see what happens if Rhapsody can actually get back on top of the game, or what's going on there. And but basically, Columbus Nova, which is the company that owns Rock Band, it's an investment firm. They're basically taken over Rhapsody, so they can, and then that's why they reduced the staff and oust the CFO and other key managers. So we'll see what happens there. I'll keep you abreast. If you want to add anything to that, let me know. Twitter me at Geekazine. Of course, Geekazine at gmail.com. All right, if you're a pirate, and you're using AT&T, you better watch out, because they're going to be participating in a 6-strike scheme that basically said if you get notices saying, hey, you're downloading illegal content, and you hit 6 times, you're done. You're out. You're gone. Cut it off. Like that. So if you rely on your internet connection, then you might want to just stop downloading illegal stuff. I stopped doing that years ago. I need my internet connection. I need it so I can do things like Geek Smack, so you guys can watch me talk in front of you on video and audio. So if you want to read more on that, this is over at torrentfreak.com. So if you've got AT&T, they could start suspending you if you get in. And of course, it's 6 strikes, and you can dispute any step of those 6 strikes and go from there. Let's move on. Let's go over to Life Hacker, and they've got 6 sweet things that you can use to automate your NFC and your Android phone. Now, of course, this LG Sprint phone does have NFC built in on it, and which is really cool. But there's a lot of things you can do with NFC communications, because you could pass by a light switch, and if you have everything set up, you pass by it, it could turn on a light, it could turn off a light. So one of the things that they talked about is actually when you get home, it passes an NFC dongle or something like that and turns your computers on, maybe turns your stereo on or something like that. Your Wi-Fi tethering can turn itself on. You can use it kind of like the Bump app and share stuff such as Wi-Fi passwords or other informations. Yeah, maybe even business cards and stuff like that. So there's 6 things here. I'm going to let you read through them. I'm not going to give them all away. So, but it's over at lifehacker.com, and it's a good reason why we should have NFC communications. But there's a lot of people that feel that NFC, somebody could pull information from there, so they're a little bit weary about that, and I totally understand. So, all right, let's move on from here. We're going over to trs-80.org. I'm guessing that's the TRS-80 group. And we found out, it's kind of sad news, that TRS-80, publisher of 80 Micro, and then, of course, the guy that created Byte, Wayne Green, had passed away. And he passed away on September 3rd of 2013. So it's kind of a sad day. I remember reading Byte magazine growing up. So it's just he's so influential in an area that you don't think about too much. You talk about Bill Gates and you talk about Steve Jobs, but then you have somebody like Wayne Green who actually reported about all this stuff and let everybody know about that. And of course, he passed away. It's part of my childhood, and that's sad to see go. So, sorry to hear. Thoughts go out to the Green family, and thank you, Wayne Green, for making my childhood geeky, I guess you could say. So, anyway, if you want to read more on this, we got the link in the show notes. You can go from there. If you want to also help with condolences, Twitter me at Geekazine. Let me know, and of course, geekazine@gmail.com, and I'll pass them along. Moving over to Gizmodo.com, Star Wars Episode 4, actually all the episodes, the iconic first opening scene of Star Wars is that little scrolling thing in the middle of space. And they've done it in parodies, and they've done it here, there, and everywhere. Well, apparently somebody said, well, let's figure out some HTML and CSS, and let's create this webpage. And that's what they did. They created basically the same scrolling thing on here. Now, he says the opening sequence. We're going to click here for the opening sequence. Oh, this is for the coding. And there's all the coding stuff, so you can actually get the actual thing here. And here's the website to watch the scroll right here. Now, he's got it on a YouTube video, so and I thought he had it on the page. Doesn't look like it. So, but anyway, maybe it's right here. Yep. Well, at any rate, that's where it is. Of course, you can get it. You can actually put scrolling onto your page. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of WordPress pages out there with Star Wars scrolling, especially a lot of the geek pages out there. So check it out. We've got the link straight in the show notes if you want more. That was over on Gizmodo.com. Thank you very much for reporting on that. Finally, Kickstarters. I try and stay away from crowdfunding stuff because they don't get funded, or they're not even close, or you watch this a week or a month later, and then of course you don't see that's all done and gone. But this one is so cool that I just had to talk about it. And they sent me an email. It's like, can you talk about it on the show? I was like, yeah, sure. I could do this. It's called Infosier. Enfoger, Enfojer. And basically, when I was in high school, I actually ran the black and white photo lab at our high school for a year, and I was really excited. I was doing lots of pictures and lots of prints from that. So when I saw this Enfoger, that I just had to talk about it. So here's basically what it is. What you do, you have to actually have some room to make some sort of a dark room. So basically what it is just like the old-fashioned turn your negatives into prints. You get the lens enlarger. Lost the what's the word? Anyway, of course, you then put your iPhone into this thing, and it projects. You use a special app. It then projects the image onto the base, that's where you put your paper, your photo paper, and then you create pictures just like you would about 20 years ago. You'd have to have the chemicals. That's what the trays are for. So you have the chemicals to actually turn the picture into an actual photo picture. And of course, this will also work with negatives. So if you want to do some old school black and white photos and do that, this is what it is. Now, a couple hours ago when I visited this site, that was at $20,000. So 17 days left to go of a $100,000 goal. They're 1/4 of the way there. It looks pretty cool. I don't know. I don't have room to put together a dark room. But, it would be so cool to actually to be able to take some pictures and do it old school. Just like Tony Randall did in The Odd Couple. Remember that show? Yeah. So anyway, are you a photo enthusiast? Would you get an Enfoger? Let me know. You can Twitter me at Geekazine, of course. Geekazine@gmail.com. And the hotline being 608-205-4378. All right, that does it for the Geek Smack section. Of course, when we come back, we're going to talk about HDMI 2.0, everything you need to know about HDMI 2.0, and whether you should get it or not, whether you need to get it or not, and what it all means. So we will do that. We will be right back. You are watching Geek Smack by Geekazine over at Geekazine.com. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. We'll be right back. It's more than just 750 channels that the Roku can offer that gives you all that content. Each channel can have sub-channels in it, so you can have tens of thousands of hours of video watching and game playing out of your Roku. And prices only start at $49.99. Of course, the Roku 3 for $99.99, and of course you can get the games, you get the game remote as well, and then the privacy mode where you can plug in your headphones right in the remote. That's perfect for when your partner is sleeping, but you want to watch something on TV. Lots of great stuff from Angry Birds to Amazon to Hulu, and of course the Tech Podcast channel. Let me show you this really quick. This is how you get to some of the content from Geekazine on the Tech Podcast channel. You just go into the Tech Podcast video, and you're going to go into Tech News, and you're going to find like the special events, iPad 365, Geek Smack, and a whole bunch more. A lot of other tech podcast shows right on that Roku for you, right at your fingertips, right through the remote. And then, of course, you can get your Netflix, you can get your Amazon, you can get your Hulu just as easy, and many more channels. PBS, we've got Redbox Instant, TV Guide, Sci-Fi Channel, and much more. Check it out. It's all over at Roku. Remember, geekazine.com/Roku. Of course, that helps me keep the lights on for all my shows. Thank you very much. And go over where streaming is made simple. Whoops. I guess sorry about that. Right now, devices like Roku, Chromecast, Apple TV, Xbox, and PS3 are fighting for that little HDMI port in the back of your TV. But that's going to actually change as soon as the new specification for HDMI 2.0 comes out. And it actually was announced back last week at IFC. Will you need to upgrade your TV? Will you need to change your cables? What will you need to do Why will you need HDMI? Is there a reason to have HDMI 2.0? First, the only reason why you would want to upgrade to a new HD specification, HDMI 2.0, is if you actually have a TV that does 4K, 4,000 pixels, and you want to watch in true 4K 60 frames per second video. You'd also want to upgrade it if you have 4K and you want to watch 3D television or 3D movies through the TV. Current standards are HDMI 1.4. If you have an older TV, probably about 4 years or older, then you don't even have that specification. Although hardware updates could have taken you to 1.4, but most likely you'll have a 720p or 1080p TV and not a 4K television. The standard basically will set 3.4 gigabits per second throughput signal to your TV. HDMI 2.0 will increase that between 6 gigabits per second to a full 18 gigabits per second throughput. Now, color depth, it stays at 48 bits per pixel. The resolution stays at 3840 by 2160, but of course will allow for 60 frames per second instead of 30. The clock rate of an HDMI 2.0 will also increase from 340 to 600 megahertz. The best part, you probably won't need any new cables. In fact, some TVs might be able to upgrade the firmware updates to the 2.0 standard. Sony has said if you have a Sony TV made in the last couple years, you will most likely be able to switch to the new HDMI 2.0 standard with an update. HDMI 2.0 won't really start coming out till the end of the year, and we'll probably see a lot of CES announcements for HDMI 2.0. But until then, you'll just have to wait to see if your TV will take an upgrade. I know that my TV probably won't take an upgrade. It's only a 3 years old, and but it's a lower end model TV. We'll just call it that. So I'd be surprised if it was 2.0. But once again, it only goes up to 1080p. So I don't see any advantage to having an updated 2.0 signal. But you never know. Maybe some new technology will come out. Maybe even 3D technology will be something to configure into that whole thing and really make HDMI 2.0 important for your TV. So what do you think? Are you going to switch to the HDMI 2.0 level? It's not going to come out till the end of the year, so you've got time. And of course you might have to wait another year for your TV because it probably won't be out before Christmas. So let me know. You can Twitter me over at Geekazine, right there, Geekazine, or geekazine@gmail.com. Just think magazine, put in a geek, you've got Geekazine. And then, of course, the hotline is 608-205-4378. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks of all ages, that does it for this episode of Geek Smack. My name is Jeffrey Powers. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. If you're over on iTunes, if you're over on Stitcher Internet Radio, thank you very much for being a part of the show. Go to geekazine.com, subscribe to the show notes, and you'll get them in your email or your RSS feeder once they become available. We will be back next week, next Tuesday, with another episode of Geek Smack. We'll smack the geek out of you once again, and we'll do it. My name is Jeffrey Powers. You guys have a safe week. Watch iPad 365. Remember Day in Tech History, 1500th episode. Go up on iTunes and give me a rating, and we'll go from there. Thanks again for watching. We will see you next time on Geek Smack. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, that is the show. Thank you very much for watching live. We've got a couple people watching right now. Appreciate it. Being part of the show, or as they'd say, the show. Really appreciate being part. If you have any questions, once again, Geekazine is the Twitter handle. And or of course you can come up on Google Plus and talk to me from there. And let's get a dialogue. Let's start talking. Let's say, hey, how's it going? If you want questions on Google Glass, if you want questions on my shows or podcasting in general. And then, of course, once I have more information on that super secretive idea thing happening, although there's some things that kind of leaked out you might be seeing here and there. As we go, we'll get it set up a little bit better. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks. Go over to youtube.com/Geekazine. Remember to subscribe there, because the more subscribers I get there, the more video views and more shows I do. Simple as that. Thanks a lot for watching. You guys take care. We'll see you next time on Geek Smack.